narrative-driven gameplay.
It's a Jade Empire.
Yeah, I never played it, but it was very well received. So
sorry, just clear my throat. Like really.
High quality content.
Will is definitely in the corner, coughing and scrolling through stuff on his computer. Super bored.
I'm like trying to get your attention.
Will's over here smoking his stogie. He's smoking his stogie.
You know the difference between me and you?
I am a stud.
I'm a stud and I
I'm
can
not to
smoke
ask my wife.
stogies.
What is my
Permission.
wife going to say?
Her father told me to smoke stogies.
Is that your
Terrible.
best
It's a
Arnold?
terrible Arnold.
It's not a horrible Arnold. It's better than mine.
Greetings, people on the internet. Welcome to another high-quality content episode of the 4Plot Podcast. I am here with just three of my best friends. All right, I love these gentlemen. We have right here Trevor.
It's your buddy.
What was that?
No.
Yeah.
What was that? I don't even like the bad Jay-Z.
It's your boy, man.
It's your buddy.
Oh.
What happened to the bad Jay-Z impression? Go
It's
back.
getting late and it's getting goofy up in Will's office tonight. Studio.
Let's try.
Will's intro surprisingly touching.
Let's try
Trevor's
again.
intro super weird.
Let's try again. Hey, greetings, people on the internet. Welcome to another high-quality content episode of the 4Plot Podcast. I'm sitting here with three of the best guys I've ever known in my entire life. We have Trevor.
Dude, it's so good. We're already laughing, man.
You don't get any more tries. Mike.
Clearly, we're all laughing. Yeah.
And Matt.
Chill.
Okay.
Saved it. He saved it.
Yeah! All right, welcome to the 4Plot Podcast, everybody. Tonight, we are talking about something you may have seen. An Angry Joe YouTube video is out there about it. A lot of articles. One Kotaku article that I've heard is about as long as the Bible about this one topic. All right? If you made it to the Gospels of this article in Kotaku, all right, you made it a long way, all right? Talking about Anthem and talking about how the production, the timelines, the developers. I keep saying words that are associated with video games because I don't know what I'm talking about. So Trevor, why don't you
Trevor,
fill us?
talk about timelines and developers for us, please.
Trevor, I'm going to need you to talk timelines, developers.
Dude, I can talk about
and
timelines.
Studio stats about Anthem. Go ahead.
Dude, I
tell
can
us
talk
about it.
about timeline anytime you want, man. 2007 Gerard Butler, Paul Walker, man. Great movie.
Classic.
Mike, and you might be able to shed a little bit. Will's
Go
just
ahead.
glaring at me.
I don't know.
that joke, that was... I mean, would you call it a joke? Or
Only
Yeah.
homeschoolers will get that one.
That's fine. The homeschool crowd. Yeah.
only people who've watched every Paul Walker movie.
Stop listening to this and get back to your math, kid. You know what I'm saying? Stop listening.
I've never watched Fast and Furious and been like, what else is Paul Walker?
2003.
Yeah.
And also Gerard Butler.
No, so me and Mike get probably kind of back and forth on this one. I watched a pretty extensive video on this, and I know Mike pretty much read all of the stuff in the massive article, but it's just really the unfortunate but all too familiar tale of the development of one Anthem by a studio that I think it's safe to say all of us love this studio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and is very... I mean, it's one of those that's released amazing games in the past.
Some of the best of all time.
It's a legendary studio, if you don't know, called BioWare, who are really known for their story, like narrative-driven games. Also, I mean, I would venture to say they kind of did a lot for also Gears of War, but I feel like Mass Effect, especially 2, did a lot for the cover third-person shooter genre.
Yeah, I mean, and they did, but I would go back to the story. I mean, honestly, going from like Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars, and Mass Effect, and Dragon Age, they are one of the biggest forces that's kind of pushed narrative-driven gameplay.
It's a Jade Empire.
Yeah, I never played it, but it was very well received. So
Sorry, just clear my throat. Like really.
High quality
Will
content.
is definitely in the corner, coughing and scrolling through stuff on his computer. Super bored.
I'm like trying to get your attention.
Will's over here smoking his stogie. He's smoking his stogie.
You know the difference
and he
between
doesn't-
me and you?
I am a stud.
I'm a stud and I
I'm
can
not to
smoke my
ask my wife.
stogie.
What is my
Permission.
wife going to say?
A father told me to smoke stogies. That's a
Is that your
terrible-
best
it's a
Arnold?
terrible Arnold.
It's
A
not a
terrible
horrible
Arnold.
Arnold.
Good.
It's better than mine.
It's terrible Arnold.
But no, it's so we all love BioWare. I'd probably I could almost give you like a top 5 just BioWare games.
Yeah.
Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age Inquisition, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3. Just absolutely love those games.
4.
But Anthem was one that I was super excited for. I'll say the first point that I'd like to make about this article that came out and this story that came out that I thought was absolutely baffling. And I'm not sure if Matt or Will, you guys know this. The demo they showed at E3 hadn't been seen by any of the top executives of Anthem until it was shown to everyone at E3.
What? Wow.
The development of this game was so up in the air that the demo they showed for E3, first of all, was not the finished game. You guys remember seeing like the big, I think they're called Striders, like the big like mech looking AT-AT
Right,
things,
the
like
walkers,
walking
yeah.
through the
Okay,
through the city, like. That doesn't happen. Like in the actual finished game, there were like a ton of the textures and the graphics. There were supposed to be multiple cities, like sort of full of all these different people. Like that demo that they showed, like almost 100% like false advertising. First of all,
Really?
that wasn't the game that was going to be eventually released. Number 2, that demo had only been seen by the people grinding to finish a demo for the E3 show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was really what
Crazy.
galvanized the vision for the game, was that demo.
Really?
Yeah, because it was so up in the air before that, and then they announced it, and they said, well, this is what
And they
we
got
have. We
such
have
an
to do this now.
Yeah, they got such an incredible reaction from the game that when they showed it, that they were like, well, I guess this is our game now, but we only have 16 months to finish it. To get it done on time. Literally, that's how the
After
game was
a
made.
pre-production of about, 4 or 5 years?
5 years.
So just to clarify, just in a nutshell, these people had 5 to 6 years to conceptualize this game. And then they showed this demo at E3 that nobody had ever seen. Was it E3 or EA Play? Whatever that, because EA does their own thing.
They were talking about this game before Mass Effect 3 came out.
Okay, so so they had the, then they showed this demo, and then all of a sudden, hey, we have to make this game now because we
Yes.
showed this
Kind of on the
game,
hook for it now.
and then they had 16 months to build this game from the ground
To
up.
literally just grind, like burn the midnight oil for basically a year and a half.
Obviously,
Yeah.
there was obviously some stuff in place, some stuff they had created, a lot of assets and art and stuff
And
like
they
that.
killed themselves to release a game that was not done and could never have been done.
Okay, so
18
so-
months.
honestly-
$60 product that we are all playing is a glorified beta test of this game.
Wow. Okay, so back up. So you guys have Anthem, right? Like a few of you have Anthem. You two do.
Yep.
I played the 10 hours that I got from EA Access.
Okay, so you
I
played-
I did not pay for it.
You played 10 hours, Mike, Trevor, and Matt. You guys own the game and
Yep.
play it. How is the game? If you had to rate the game right now on a classic IGN 1 to 10 scale,
You mean a 7 to 10 scale? Come on, man.
come on, man.
Matt,
You know,
So, yeah, to say
Matt, I know you're gonna know this because you got a mind like a steel trap, buddy. Actually, probably a few of you guys will know this. Did you guys ever, when you had a PS2, these were the demo discs?
yeah, boy.
they came in like the
Jam Pack,
PlayStation
bro.
magazine.
Is it called yes,
Jam
Jam
Pack.
Pack?
Jam Pack.
Okay,
yeah.
so do you guys remember playing those Jam Packs?
Yep.
And,
Dynasty Warriors 3.
Yep.
Star Wars Starfighter.
Motor-
Kinetica.
Where is
Motocross
this going?
game.
Motocross.
There was like always an ATV game.
Yeah.
ATV Off-Road Fury.
So-
ATV Off-Road Fury, first PlayStation game ever owned. Go ahead.
Anthem sort of feels like what it feels like to play one of those.
Really?
It's like you're having so much fun for about 30 minutes until you realize, oh,
That's it.
that's it. This is the fun part where you're just flying around.
Really?
Honestly, it is an incredible Iron Man simulator.
Okay.
Honestly,
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
like 2 to 3 sets of armor. Different looks that you can do. You can
that's
also
not
do
a
all
joke.
sorts of
That's
paint
literally
schemes.
there's literally 3 sets. It's
Well,
a
and
looter
the-
shooter, and it's got 3 sets of armor.
And I'd imagine that the flight mechanics they'd been working on for longer than, they were able to kind of pull stuff that they'd been
Yeah.
working on for longer than the 18 months.
Well, you remember what they said in the article, though. They pulled it twice.
Yeah.
They
That's right.
they
That's
literally
right. That's right.
canceled flying in this game. The only really, really cool thing about this game got taken out
Bro.
twice. The second time it got taken out, they showed an almost finished version of the game without flight to an EA executive. I think it was like the CEO or the president of EA. And he said, "Where's the flight? We have to put flight in this game." And so they started all the level design
Wow.
all over again. to
Wow.
put
It's
light
just
back in the
baffling.
game.
Like, I mean, again, I don't work in the industry, but I like to think that I know everything. All
Of
the
course,
time.
yeah, for sure. Well, you
I
and
mean,
everybody else.
I mean,
on
you
the
have a
internet.
microphone.
Yeah, clearly.
Clearly, you know everything.
I'm just so baffled. Like, why would you think that releasing a game that's not finished and like that would be the best course of action? Because I understand, like, hey, we got to make money. Like, it's a company for
Yeah.
sure. But there's no thought in your mind that, like, man, we really messed this up. We have not
Let's
given the
just
guys
try to concentrate on our sports games for a little bit and
Yeah.
go back to the drawing
Like,
board.
we're
with this
already
guy.
making freaking buckets
I
on
was like, there's no thought at EA or BioWare. Like, maybe we need a winner. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe Mass Effect Andromeda didn't go over well because it was released and it was really buggy and it looked weird.
Maybe we had the Star Wars license to make 2 Star Wars video games, and people hated them. You know,
Like, I
so
don't.
sad.
I'm baffled at how EA is so bad at what they do. From like, they just make such huge mistakes, and maybe I just don't understand. But like, you're looking, you're like, man, like, give this game another 6 months, and you wouldn't have this hatred for
Right.
this game. I mean,
Come on, man! You don't like Darth Vader sold separately for $20, man?
well, but let's back up. Let's back up and look at games that did that right. I mean, you look at like, and I know we're going to move on, but you look at
The
like
Witcher 3.
How long was The Witcher 3 pushed back? Did they push that back multiple times?
I don't think they might have pushed it back, but they were not like, hey, we're releasing it.
Because
in
let me
6
tell you a game that
months.
got pushed back multiple times. Nobody understood why. Then the game came out, and I would call this game quite literally for what it was, a masterpiece. Because the South Park game, the Fractured But Whole,
Yeah.
like they got pushed back, like almost
Really?
over a year. Like it was,
Stick of Truth had the same thing.
Yeah,
and it was great, and it
it,
worked out really
it's
well.
so good. Like I'm telling you, those games are just incredible.
I mean, and you mentioned The Witcher 3. That's the big one for me because they have another game coming out called Cyberpunk 2077 that
Yep.
I'm going to pre-order as soon as I can because I trust that company to release
Trust
a
the
good game.
development.
They've been adamant like, hey, we're releasing this game when it's done. We don't have a release date. We'll tell you when it's coming out.
Guess what? When you play The Witcher 3, you're playing a game that is finished.
And
it is a finished,
And a lot of
beautiful
people don't
game.
think of CD Projekt Red. I mean, they had like 100 people. Like,
Right.
and nobody. And it's just like they were able to compete with these AAA titles who can just throw cash at a game because they were willing to be patient. You know, The Witcher 2 is not very popular.
and do one thing at a time, which helps.
Yes, yeah. So it's just, I mean, how can you undervalue the goodwill of your player base so much that you're just like, this game isn't done, but you guys will buy it anyway, and we'll keep patching it.
I'm sure you guys will figure out the bugs, and we'll take it from there, basically.
I mean,
Baffling.
and to a certain extent, you do have to give a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Like, from EA's perspective, BioWare had this game for 5 years. How
We
much
need our
longer
game.
is it going to take?
Well, no, that's
we're
true.
paying these people
For sure.
for a game.
That's
and
true. I mean, you
we
could-
need
you could-
our need our investment back.
Man,
you
this
could-
isn't funny at all. I'm just upset now
You
thinking
could,
about this.
no, you know
I'm
what?
like
you know what?
sad.
I got it. I'm gonna make a point right now. You could put us in this room for 5 minutes. We can come up with a game. We only need 5 years. Trevor, give me your best game idea right now. Throw me your best video game idea.
Oh, my
Throw it at me
goodness.
right now. Here you
Go.
go. Right now.
oh,
Elevator
yeah.
pitch.
No, it's
15
coming.
seconds.
I'm ready.
The doors are
Here
about
we
to
go.
open.
All right.
You're about to
No,
lose
Why
it.
don't you go,
honestly-
man? Will, you had this thought in your, your mind.
you are you,
No, I'm the
You
host.
are
Threw it to you.
correct.
You do it. What's up?
No, honestly, I have always wanted a game that was an RTS game until you wanted to get like down in the middle of the fight, and then it turned into a third-person shooter game.
Okay, so real-time strategy, and then you switch
I've
over to
always
third-person
wanted
shooter.
like. Could you
First-person
imagine if it was like a battle for Middle Earth? Did you guys play those games, the Lord of the Rings
Yes.
RTS games, or even like a Halo Wars or a Total War, something like
yeah,
that?
I mean, I play Age of Empires, all those kind of
Right,
games.
you were
yeah.
top down until you wanted to like get into the shoes of one of the captains, and then it just totally flipped, and it's a
I
different
don't know
style
if they
of game.
ever successfully
Or like a
did
Rome
it.
Total War where you're playing with like sword and shield, like Phalanx or something.
Phenomenal.
Be awesome.
Yeah,
man.
I would love that.
Yeah,
type
I don't
of
know if
game.
they ever succeeded. I think that they tried to do that with EVE Online and a game called, I think it was Dust 514, to kind of link those two separate games into each other and have one influence
Really?
the other. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
I
know
didn't
if that
realize that was
ever
the concept
actually
of that.
You
really
got
happened.
you call EA, man. You got 5 years to really flesh that out. You know what I'm saying? You got 5
And
years. All right.
16 months to develop.
So obviously, Anthem is a game that you were not happy with your purchase, correct?
I would say
No. Okay.
Trevor
so
can love a game based on its concept
Yeah.
alone.
He had
he's
two-
so good at
was-
like seeing the positives
Was
in a
that
game
was
he
that
wants
game
to.
Two Worlds or whatever? Was that game that you?
First
you
of
were the
all,
only, you were the only
that game was incredible.
Wait,
If you can look at me right now and tell me a medieval fantasy game where you can run shirtless on the beach and punch raptors to death isn't fun,
Wait,
then
wait, I'm
you're
sorry, excuse me.
you're just not living. Okay, you're
Also, I don't. Have we discussed the speed run of Two Worlds yet? I
It's
think
like
we may have
6
discussed-
minutes long.
no,
Bro, it's
I
legit.
don't-
It's no.
stop
There's no
this.
glitching.
Don't even tell me.
He
Don't
doesn't
tell
jump
me.
through any walls. You literally walk up the final boss is just like standing outside of town somewhere. You talk to him. You like punch him in the face and run away into town. You get him to throw a fireball at you. He hits the guards and then they pound on him for 30 minutes.
Is this
until his
true?
800 HP
This is
goes away.
100% true.
Well,
No.
I guess,
Check it out.
I
on-
guess this is the end of the podcast for me because I'm gonna have to go home and find something
Bro,
else for my whole
go
life to
on
be about.
HDQ, the Awesome Games Done Quick. They have a Two Worlds run.
Wow,
There's-
that's crazy.
We need our whole episode to be about that now. But no, seriously, I will say, and Mike makes a good point. I do tend to see like the positives in the game. I really, 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 honestly love the art direction. I love the flying. It's so much fun. It makes me so sad that there's not flying in Destiny. Like it really, really does. Or in a Halo game or even something like that. It's so much fun. The verticality of the
Okay,
levels.
time's up. We're
It
gonna
is
play a game called "Give Me My $60 Back." I'm sorry, man. I just,
Really gorgeous
I'm
skyboxes.
sorry. I'm sorry, man. I just
I really like the customization of the
I
suit.
just asked you if you liked it, man.
Bro,
That's all
I like
asked.
the game. It's not worth $60.
Okay,
I love
now-
how
Sure, for
Skybox is always like, it's like, I'm going to review the
It's a beautiful
gameplay,
game.
the story, the sound, and the Skybox. It's like, that was your point from Borderlands 2.
It's a very unique rubric, and it needs to be implemented.
Man, this whole game is a pile of crap, but look at that skybox.
Look at
That's
that
a-
sky.
That's a-
Stop talking about Halo 4 like that.
oh,
Just kidding. I like Halo 4, but
all right, man. Let's play a little fun game called "Give Me My $60 Back." This is where we talk to each other and we figure out which game did you buy that you just immediately, when you put it in, maybe after a few hours of playing it, realized that you had just wasted $60 of your hard-earned money on a total piece of crap. Okay, now
It's beautifully said.
thanks, man. I appreciate it. I've been practicing a lot. So, anybody want to jump in there? A game. It could be from this generation, last generation. Could be. Maybe you could too. Your grass cutting money when you had an old PlayStation or an N64.
you were cutting the grass on Pap.
Oh Jesus! All right. Okay.
Always figure out a way to bring it
Okay.
back to
Both-
Will's
both-
dark childhood.
both my-
Pap, pap, let you play
both
Zelda.
my Pap Paps are dead. You like that? You like how I did that?
Now you can play Zelda whenever
Yeah.
you want.
Oh my God!
We're really good friends on this show. Just so you
We
guys
really
know.
are.
Sorry,
We
our
really
good
are.
friends,
Apologies to anyone in my
if you
family
didn't
who listens to
pull
this
the
podcast.
if you didn't pull the my grandpa's dead every time we make that joke, I would not have got the clap
It
back.
loses.
That's not like a one
I
time.
would have not got the clap back. That's good.
Pat Pap's now walking on the Eternal Farm.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Playing the
So.
NES in the heaven.
Okay.
Plains of Elysium.
Back to give me
I'm
my
such a bad
$60
person.
back. So let's pull ourselves out of my dark hole that is my life. All right. So here we go. I'm crying. I'm not laughing. I'm just kidding. Give my $60 back. Name a game in this generation or last or to last.
So just name a game.
Just name a game. Just name
Will,
a game.
I'll fire it right back at you, man. How much was that Power Rangers game you got?
Oh, okay. Maybe not give my $60 back. Stop. I'm about to go off. This is really what this segment's about, is going off about games right now. Let me just go off for a second. Oh,
he's mad.
I spent $20 on that game, okay? Give me my $20 back, because Power Rangers, I forgot what it's called. Power Rangers something battle. It's the one.
Mighty Battle Force.
It's like the Castle Crashers, but with Power Rangers. By the way, looks
Oh,
awesome.
looks
I'm
so
talking about
awesome.
it looks so good. You have your pick from the Red Ranger, the Blue Ranger, the Black Ranger, Yellow Ranger, Red Ranger, White Ranger, spoiler alert, and Green Ranger. You can play as either one. Okay, cool. That makes a total of at least 6, maybe 7 if you can play as Green and White at the same time. That wouldn't be canon, but whatever. If you could play them at the same time, that makes 7 players you can play as. That sounds really cool, right? Well, let's think for a second. I do believe the Xbox One has the ability to connect up to 8 controllers controllers to it, but who has 8 controllers? That would be, I don't know, $400 in controllers at your house. Okay,
But surely, man, I mean, there's so many. You have so many friends online you can play together with.
You would think, man, you would think that's the case, but just one little thing: there's no online play in this game. You cannot play online in Power Rangers Super Mega
so
Battle Force,
sad.
whatever
It's
this thing
so
is called.
sad.
You can't play online. By the way, it is the most repetitive beat 'em up game I've ever played in my entire
Which
life.
is fine when you're playing with friends.
Which is fine when you're playing with friends. I don't want to beat up 15,000 putties by myself, all right? And if you don't know that they're called putties, you need to go back to the original Power Rangers. They made that, that's the only way they talked kind of thing. Yeah, and then the Power Rangers would come on after the show and explain to you how those were dance moves, not fighting moves. Anyway, the point is, the game...
to help with the parents.
The point
who
is,
didn't
the
wanna watch their
game
kids
was
watch.
such a letdown, and I was so excited for it. The graphics are cool, like the animation style, or whatever you want to call it, like the art style. Not animation
neat.
style, it's a movie.
Oh, like
art
the
style.
ultimates and stuff.
Yeah,
Awesome.
very cool, man. Oh God. But I'd rather honestly go play the Super Nintendo version we had when we were kids. Like, you remember that game? That game was awesome.
That's a good
Right.
time.
I'm
Okay.
amazed you could stay angry while going. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, man, it was.
And angry. Blah, 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 blah,
It's
blah.
the putties. The putties.
Dude,
man.
this must have gotten you.
All right, so that's mine. It's not 60, it's 20, but yes, Trevor, thanks for bringing that up because that is infuriating.
Oh, anytime,
I can't smash my desk anymore. I'm going to break it.
You want me to go? All right.
Mike.
I got a couple, actually. Honestly, if I looked at my library, I'd say about half the games I've bought I haven't finished because I'm super picky. But the one for me that is the biggest waste of money ever is old Elder Scrolls Online for the Xbox
dude.
One.
So- Preach.
So sad.
Preach.
Oh, okay, so here's the thing, man. If you like Elder Scrolls and you like World of Warcraft, but you only want to play the bad parts of both of those games, Elder Scrolls Online is for you.
If you want to talk to the same lizard woman for about, I don't know, half the game. Did you realize that you would talk to the same lizard lady like most
Bro,
of the game?
I don't even care. There was not a single quest in that game where I even listened to the dialogue. Once I realized I could just go skip, I was gone,
Right,
man.
yeah.
Dude, it was over. Oh my god, everything about the game is terrible. There's not a single thing about it that is good.
I think I put the most amount of hours in this game out of just pure, like, I guess maybe I thought that if I got to like an end game part, I don't know why I was thinking. I don't play many MMOs, so, but I was thinking to myself, like, maybe if I get high enough level, I could start doing some of these like higher level dungeons with my friends. Like, maybe that's what makes it fun. I got to like level 30 something and I just couldn't do it anymore.
No.
Like
Bro.
I put like probably almost 100 hours in that game, and it's literally crappy side quest after crappy side
So
quest. The
bad.
dialogue's terrible. The writing is terrible.
You went so deep in that. I went wide. I probably started that game 12 times.
Really?
Like, I just kept trying. Like, I'm like, okay, come on. I know that I just didn't give this a chance. Like, it's going to be good. No, it's not. It's
Right.
always going to be terrible forever
yeah.
because it's the worst thing that's ever happened.
Literally, the most fun thing about that game is trying to, like, honestly, and this is fun in every Elder Scrolls game, but it's just hiding with a bunch of people in town trying to wait for the shopkeeper to look away so you can steal stuff from the store.
Bro,
That is literally the most fun thing about the game.
when you're playing Skyrim, all of the quest line, what's cool? You get to be the guy. When you do the Thieves Guild quest, you get to join the Thieves Guild.
You're
You get
the
to
man.
become
You're
the
the
guy
new
in the
guy,
Thieves
right.
Guild. Dark Brotherhood, you get to become the head assassin. The story missions, you get to fight Alduin. There's a little bit of that immersion is taken away when you got to go save the world from old clay monster, whatever, in the volcano, and there's 95
other
people waiting in
the
line.
queue.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a queue like
yes.
at freaking
I
Cedar Point.
forgot about that.
If you like playing Skyrim but wish it was a little bit more like the DMV, Elder Scrolls Online is the game for
Like,
you.
you're the only one that can save us as people are walking by you. They're coming out with like the soul of the arch nemesis,
God.
and you're just like, oh, okay, so I'm not a big deal. And like, I don't really care that much about immersion if the game's fun, but like, even me,
That's
I'm
pretty
like,
rough.
okay,
Listen,
like I'm
man.
clearly not important here.
All I know is I played that game long enough to keep getting rusty brown armor, like everything I had.
And yes,
And then I spent.
yeah.
Then I spent.
The
two,
progression
then,
is rough.
Then I spent $2.99 to get the nice silver armor, and Trevor just ridiculed me for it.
So
Bro.
you spent $62.99 on this game.
$62.99
Give me
on
my
that game.
$62.99 back.
Well,
man.
you can't just throw money at your problems and get them to go away, man.
Yeah,
Like, this
well,
game sucks.
trust
I
me,
should
I've
give
tr-
them more money.
Yeah.
See what
Trust me,
happens.
I've tried to do that with Destiny. It doesn't work.
It
out.
doesn't
Bro,
work.
and like the other side, if you like World of Warcraft, what do you like? You like doing builds? You like having loot?
Min-maxing.
Did
the
you
whole
ever
nine.
get any loot from that game where you were like, oh, look at these stats and these perks? Like,
No.
no. Look at this iron armor. Oh, look, more iron armor.
Yeah.
Well,
I
and it
don't-
was always just like you found armor that was a little bit better than the one you had before, and this
Joy.
one may be green. You know, it's like, and so it you know, it's kind of like paying. Imagine paying. Will, did you guys? Mike, I feel like you did. Did you guys ever play RuneScape?
I never played RuneScape.
Let me tell you about some RuneScape.
It would be like spending $60 on RuneScape.
Yes.
It would be a
No,
little bit like
because
that.
at least RuneScape gives you the feeling of progression. Like, I'm making some progress. I'm leveling up. My
No,
woodcutting is
because
My wood cutting
RuneScape-
is sweet right now.
I'm at 30.
doesn't steal your soul. All right, that's
Bro,
different.
well, bro. I
Okay,
played-
what's
I
the
played
other
some
one?
RuneScape, man.
How much did you spend on a girlfriend in the marketplace in that game, man? Be honest. Be
Nah, man.
honest, dude.
That's not
Buying
the worst thing.
GF, man, 25,000 gold pieces.
Nah, man, you weren't a kid in the 90s unless you were pretending to be a girl in the Grand Exchange.
to get that adamantium armor. You know what I'm talking about?
Like selling GF.
And every normal person just left the podcast.
Okay, I'd like to point out I did not do that. I really want to make sure that's
Same here for sure.
But-
for
I
sure.
want to make sure that's on tape somewhere that I did not do that.
But yeah, at least RuneScape had a clear idea of like, this is what it is. It's a grind, but we're going to capitalize on that by making it feel good for leveling up because you get new stuff.
And it's a novelty, and it's guess what? Free.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Okay,
It's okay.
so what's this other game that you're like? You said you got a couple.
Okay, so I got a couple. I was looking through just the Xbox store because I know there's a bunch.
You know what?
I'll
I'm
give you
gonna
one.
look through my
Do it.
Xbox game
I
collection.
don't think you can do it from your phone, but I did
wanna
just
try.
for this. We'll see. I'll give you one that I don't think you'd agree with, man. I would really like to have my $60 back for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh,
That's a hard one.
That's a controversial
now,
statement.
It's not like Elder Scrolls Online where it's bad.
Okay.
But the more I play that game, the more I wonder if I'm actually having any fun playing it.
That is fair. That's fair.
Yes.
that
That's
is
fair.
Anthem for me.
That's fair.
Well,
Legitimately.
for different yes.
Different reasons, but I play
but
it, and it's
Rockstar,
really,
yeah.
really fun, right? It's really, really fun, and I'm having fun, right? Right?
Right.
Yeah, no,
right?
it is.
You're having
But
fun.
here's the thing: I think that Rockstar made the game they wanted to make.
Yes.
It's not that it isn't finished; it's just so immersive and so story driven that I don't even really feel like I'm playing a game half the time. It's
Right.
like I'm going through a checklist of like, oh, I woke up, got to have my coffee, my
Yeah,
stew,
yeah, absolutely.
got to go talk
Yeah,
to all the
there's too much-
talkable people in town and
Listen,
in my
which is
little,
everybody.
I will agree
Yeah.
with that. I'll agree with that.
and
I
it's-
have
and
not.
it's amazing. Like it's great. You'll have conversations and they'll talk back to you. I didn't really find any parts where I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Like it's so well
Right.
done, but I'm just like, man, I'm not playing a game right now. I'd rather just
Right.
watch the YouTube video of all the cutscenes and be like, done.
Because it's so in depth and there's so much to do. Like really, you do have to eat and shower and all these other things. Like, you know, like I was playing and I was in the middle of it and I realized that I'm like filthy dirty. And I think there's you can get sick or something like that. Can't you get sick from
and
being
if you don't
dirty?
eat food, you can get like you can starve and it'll
Right,
decrease
but if you
your
eat too
stats.
much food, you can get fat.
Yep.
Like it's like I mean, the game is
What?
nuts, bro. It's insane.
Like old Fable style, man. You got to eat a bunch of celery, fill your mouth with celery so you can lose some weight.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird, man, because there's so much.
bizarre.
There's so much to do. Yeah, I don't agree with that.
and it's like they went too far into the realistic, and you're just like,
Because
it's not as much fun.
I wouldn't
There's
agree.
no,
I would-
and there's
I
no
would-
fast travel, so it's realistic that you're traveling. And I'm
True.
just like, I don't want to ride my horse across the map again.
correct me if I'm wrong. Red Dead. Red Dead Redemption 1, it had like that Western cool
Red
like,
Dead-
vibe, but it was a little bit more of like a not campy, but it was a little over the top like action. a little
Well, yeah,
over the top. Like,
well, I
they,
mean,
didn't
Red-
they come
Red-
out with a
Red-
DLC that was like
No.
everybody was zombies.
That was Undead
and-
Nightmare. That was
was so
I would
cool.
say that the first game was similar to the second. It just didn't go quite as
Right.
far.
No, I mean Red Dead. No, I mean Red Dead was Red Dead Redemption 1 was truly a GTA with horses. Like I really
Yeah.
because like you had your Deadeye, so you had your slow motion shooting, but it refilled on its own. You have to worry about a core. Like like the cores are what make Red Dead 2 so interesting, and interesting sometimes in a bad way of like you got to refill your core. So basically you got your like Deadeye meter. If you run out of your Deadeye, like you use Deadeye too long, it cuts into your core. If you cut into your core, then it won't automatically refill. So then you got to eat baked beans and whiskey to like refill.
No, it was whiskey and cigars. It's
Whiskey
all the
and
bad stuff for you.
Yeah,
Fixes your
whiskey
dad.
and cigars.
The Metal Gear Solid move, man. You can't make that shot. Just smoke a cigarette, kid.
Right.
You'll feel better.
Right. One thing I really didn't appreciate about Red Dead either is that, and I know that they had this in the first game as well, but the idea when you're in Grand Theft Auto, you're just bad. Like you're bad. You're definitely bad. And if I want to go do the mission, or if I want to ride on the sidewalk and take about 50 pedestrians out, I know the only thing that's going to happen is I'm going to be jailed and I'm going to lose some money, right? But Red Dead has like the honor system to where you can be good or you can be bad. So it really stops you sometimes if you want to be a good character from going in and just shooting up a town. You know what I'm saying?
And I was told that there is different endings based on that. And I don't know anything about them, but it's just like.
But that's a game you're definitely not going to go play again to get a second ending. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
So anyway, okay. So
is there like a new game plus where it lets you fast travel? Maybe
there is fast travel back to. There is some sort of fast travel in that game, but it's you got to upgrade your camp and you go back to anyway. Okay, so I mean,
both of you guys have had a similar problem with this game where you haven't played. Like,
I haven't finished it. No.
I don't know. I put about 20 hours into it.
I don't. Yeah, I'll put.
I think
Probably
I'm on
about
chapter
the same.
3 out of 5, and then there's some epilogue. I'm not. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I have not finished it, but it's just like I have so many games that I haven't finished that if I'm not having fun, like
right away.
it's just
Right.
not even right away, but like I don't think this game is going to change. Like I'm not missing any gameplay elements here. It's just going to be more of the story, and the story is kind of interesting, but man, it's a lot of commitment as far as time. You know, it's not a movie where I can watch it in 3 hours.
Yeah.
So.
What about you? What about you, Trev? What's a give me your 60, 20, 30 back?
I'll say give me a, I'm sort of basing this one off of the time commitment / like how much potential I thought it had, because I think it was the first game like this in this series. But Assassin's Creed Unity, wasn't that the first Assassin's Creed game that had multiplayer?
Multiplayer, yeah, you could do multiplayer,
and it was just like so lame. The story was okay. Like
you think the multiplayer was lame, or you think just the?
I didn't enjoy it.
I thought the story was lame. I thought the story was terrible.
I thought the story was okay. I actually never
thought the story
even
was terrible.
finished the story because it seemed like it was just sort of dragging on. And
That game also had a whole bunch of like technical issues when it came out.
when it first came out, it was definitely very unfinished, and you had the old skull eyes bugging out of the skull and everything. That was some good times. But no, I think like there was a couple different.
Man, that was sorry.
Sorry, there's a ghost in the studio.
Sorry.
All the lights just came on.
All the lights just turned on. That was
For no reason. So that's hopefully we're. Anyway, also
Sorry.
Matt's gone.
Matt is gone.
That's weird.
Yeah, I didn't even think about how we were gonna. He had to leave. His wife kept calling. She called him like 8 times. So I'm guessing something happened. I'm amazed he ignored her call like 7 times. To be honest, he's not the type. And
Matt's
he just like
not
snuck
here.
out.
Yeah, that's
But no, I'll say Assassin's Creed Unity for me was such a letdown because I think we did the multiplayer like 4 or 5 times, and I feel like it was just like it was. You were sort of running around, and they were like, you couldn't really. Could you do the main storyline with your friends, or it was like a different set of missions?
So it was a whole different set of you couldn't do the main story. It was a whole different set of like
it
missions
was
or
just
something
it felt weird. It felt like it was sort of this thing where it was, hey, we should do this, and it's like, yeah, we should. That would be super fun to play Assassin's Creed with your friends. It's like, how are we going to do it? Not really sure. Let's just try this, you know. And so I'll say like I that was when I got at launch like, oh my gosh, play Assassin's Creed. Like, but with my friends, we're all like running around as assassins. Like, that's so cool.
Right.
And then in practice, it was just not a lot of fun. And I still haven't finished the main campaign of that game. And the other day, I was trying to like re-download it to finish it so I could go on to the next game. And I'm like, you know what? This is not even worth it. I'll just watch the YouTube video.
Yeah, I mean that's one I could agree with you on. I think give him $60 back on that one for sure. I mean, I thought the story was not even good. I thought it was crap. Mike, you feel like you got another one over there?
I got a bunch, so I was thinking I could just go through like real quick and give like a 1 sentence.
Go for
games. Okay, I'm just scrolling down my games list. The Division 1 I thought was terrible.
man, yeah,
Oh
a
my
lot of
gosh, the
people.
story was nothing. They had this really cool idea of like take back the city from these gangs because there was this big plague. Except for there were no real enemies anywhere. It was just empty, and like you got this big base like after the
And
second
the enemies
mission.
that were there took about 37 years to kill.
That
right,
is
Will?
Yes. So the enemies were all bullet sponges, and they would like just take way too much damage before they died.
Here's another one for you that I know you're going to hate, Trevor. I would love to have my money back for Dragon Age Inquisition.
Ooh.
I cannot understand why I don't like this game. Like, I love the Mass Effect series, and I liked Dragon Age 1. I did not play the second one. Dragon Age Inquisition, to me, did not do a good job of, like, establishing the goals, establishing the characters, the story. Like, I just was not linear enough for me in the beginning, and I'm so baffled. So now I'm like, I got my big castle thing, I've done a bunch of missions, but I'm like, what's my goal? And maybe it's because I haven't played the second one, but I'm lost, and I didn't enjoy the combat like I do in Mass Effect.
I got
So
one
that was
for
a
you.
little
I would
frustrating.
say playing Dragon Age 2 before we get off that one. I would say playing Dragon Age 2 probably helps understanding the narrative of everything, and because actually your main character in Dragon Age 2 makes an appearance.
Yes, it's a
Hawk.
Hawk.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
I got to
Dragon
him,
Age
and I
Inquisition.
recognized that was
Which
the
is
guy.
really cool if
Yeah.
you've played the second game, and definitely helps with like the narrative and everything. I will say I couldn't disagree more with you. Obviously, I absolutely love that game. I will say the first area in that game is way too big. The hinterlands. It's hard to make it out of that area,
And they don't.
Once you
yeah.
once you get out of that area and get to Skyhold, like that's when the game really starts.
And they don't explain like, hey, Hinterlands is not something you should complete now.
Right.
They really don't
which
tell
I
you.
agree that's terrible. But you know, if you can soldier on, you know, I encourage you to. You
Tom
should give it
Clancy
another
Ghost
try.
Recon Wildlands.
I literally am looking at that right now, man.
Yeah.
That game is so like there's
is.
no investment in that game.
No.
It's like
No,
Ghost Recon, but with beards,
It
guys.
feels, it feels like, here's the deal. That game had so much potential, felt like it didn't feel like a AAA title. It felt like something that somebody put out as like a Ghost Recon ripoff. You know what I'm saying? Like everything I felt was so generic.
It's like a dollar
Every-
store
like-
Ghost Recon.
Like, but I'm saying like the premise was really cool. The premise was like, hey, for your friends, you get together. It was what you wanted Assassin's Creed to be, which is play the whole campaign with your friends, open
Yeah.
world, you know, kind of thing. Like you'd think that'd be really cool, and it is, I guess, if you get 4 people. But it's
And you
just
play
so
as, like,
forget-
private
it's
military
just, yeah, it's just
contractors,
so
right?
forgettable.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I would think that this is an issue that every Tom Clancy game has. They are so realistic that anytime you introduce things like loot and RPG elements to
Yeah.
it, they
feels
just fall
strange.
flat.
Right.
The Division is the same way. I like the Division 2. I think it's a better game, but it's still the same where like I don't really care that I got knee pads that are level 24 instead of level 23. Like, okay, cool. Like I have no investment there.
Oh, wait, Mike, I got one for you if you didn't see this one. First of all, of course, Star Wars Battlefront 2. I won't go into that one. But I think me and you both downloaded this. Warhammer Vermintide 2.
Bro,
Dude,
you want to talk about games from like last generation. That game looked like poo-poo.
that game was terrible, man. I know you're a Warhammer fan.
First of all,
Did you-
even try it?
Yes. Absolutely.
When did you play that game?
We
Bro.
played it
And I
together.
wasn't on.
We played it together one night, and we were
and
like,
with Eric.
yeah, and we were like, this is trash.
That game is awesome.
No, it's
Bro.
not.
Bro,
No, it's
it was
not.
terrible.
That game looks terrible. Like
I mean, it's not the prettiest game in the world. That actually is.
it's not the prettiest game in the. Like, it's not.
It might be the least pretty game. And I mean, honestly, it was terrible looking.
No, I mean that actually isn't from a AAA studio.
I don't care, man. It's terrible. Like,
Okay.
I don't care.
That's fine. I mean, the graphics, but the gameplay, I was
The
just
gameplay,
like,
I didn't like it. I thought the whole thing was not just not my.
It was not
alley.
my thing. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I was not.
Final
I was,
Fantasy 15 is another one. That game was.
Doo-doo trash, yuck, nasty.
It is really weird when you see Japanese companies that use American culture as their inspiration.
Oh yeah.
And
It is
I'm imagining
really,
the
really
reverse
strange.
is very true as well. Like
The one
if
guy with
Americans.
the, big, the one guy with the big muscles with like no sleeves on his leather jacket riding a motorcycle. And he's like,
Yep.
"Come on with me, howdy y'all."
Yeah, they should never have made that like American West like themed. It's so weird.
So weird.
It was an interesting idea having like real time combat, but man, it's just not that good.
Every character I feel like in Final Fantasy 15 sounds like the Drifter from Destiny.
The trick.
Go with God.
Go with God, brother. Yeah, brother. Go Cowboys.
Oh, God.
God, man, I do that.
All right, one quick one apiece. One more quick one apiece. Dead Rising 4. I bought Dead Rising 4 the day it came out.
Hold on. Can you talk to us about Dead Rising 1 through 3?
No. Listen, Dead Rising 1 and 2, also in that category, Dead Rising 3 was super fun.
Really?
So Dead Rising 3 was awesome because you got to construct all these, like, first of all, it was like an open world. You're in a city the entire time. So, like, you're going from, like, place to place. It weren't
Okay. That's the one where you could get the Mega Man.
Right.
I was supposed to go to the grocery store today before I got home, and all the grocery stores are closed now.
Oh, God.
My wife's calling me. I don't know what I'm gonna say.
She's calling you at at the Publix witching hour, man. 10 o'clock.
She's like, "Hey, are you at the store?"
Oh, God. Well,
I came straight here from work, and we've been here forever.
maybe we should just wrap this up so Mike can go to the grocery store.
I'm sorry
we're dropping-
to change that. I was just
We're
like,
dropping like flies, man.
Bro,
my,
it's
my-
okay.
My heart sunk a little bit. I was
This,
like, oh
I
my
understand.
gosh.
This is what happened. Walmart is open. Walmart has groceries.
Walmart got your back.
I don't know,
dog.
man. My wife's a little bougie for Walmart.
So is
man.
mine, man. So
So
is
is
mine.
mine.
Bro, I got
So
no.
is
I'm
mine,
not
bro.
cooking
So
real
is
food.
me.
So is
Actually-
me. No.
Dude, I'm cooking
I'll
real
eat-
food, which means I cannot go to Target or Walmart and get like their rotten, like bottom of the barrel produce, bro. And I'm not being extra, man.
Their
You-
produce
you
is
know,
terrible.
it's true.
Their produce
It's
is
true.
terrible.
I don't know how Walmart is because I'm
Yeah.
not near one. I go to Super Target, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
it's a
definitely.
freaking flip a coin. Is this gonna be rotten when I get home?
It is, man.
Come on, man! Isn't that the strange things are afoot at Archer Farms, man?
Where is the Archer? Dude, you know Archer Farms is one of those like TV like let's go to Archer Farms. It's a factory with smoke billowing out and thunder in the background. Thunder and lightning.
There's a big guy.
genetically producing apples over there. Oh, look at this! Look at this genetically modified onion that we made.
It's a world where the trees talk and have faces and they're screaming. They're like, no, don't take my apples! No!
The guy running it is an anthropomorphic Target dog, but with like a handlebar mustache, and he's like,
Spuds McKenzie. Get back to work, little kid. Spuds McKenzie grown up with a cigar.
What has this turned into? Oh God!
Oh, I'm being so much trouble.
But back.
We ain't got no food, man. I've been eating beans out of a can.
That's what Wendy's is for, man. That's what Wendy's.
Bro,
is
I've been
for.
having beans out of a can and craisins for like 3 days.
Oh God, dude.
I got no food.
If it makes you feel any better, my wife is also too bougie. Like for
Oh.
Walmart, the other night she goes, "What am I gonna do for lunch?" I was like, "Well, go by Walmart. We can
Bro.
find something." She goes, "I'm not eating Pop-Tarts for lunch." I'm like,
I told her I'd have dinner on the table when she gets home. She's on her way right now.
Oh God. Okay.
So I'm just be like, well, look, it's nobody's fault. All right. So
this is really no one's fault.
what had happened was,
"Hey, man, I'm
Okay.
sure the
Hey,
explanation
Mike,
of honey
oh,
we
you
had
can't,
to."
you can't take a pizza because of the
No,
gluten.
man.
I'm sure the explanation of honey we had to do multiple episodes will suffice, man.
oh
sure.
man, she's going.
I'm
I mean,
sure.
it's fine. I'll just tell her I'll get in the morning. And
Okay, I've got one more little quick one, and then we can be done.
Did
with
you not
this.
hear? Did you not hear this, man? He has
No,
to
it's
go.
fine.
Sorry. Were you
dude,
going?
dude, at this point, it's gone.
Okay,
Whatever,
go
I'll
ahead.
call it back.
Give us your last one.
Okay, sorry.
As long as I catch her before she gets home and I'm not there.
Yeah.
The anger.
I did not mean to cut you
Oh,
off,
you're
but
good.
but I'll say my last one is definitely bought this because a couple friends of mine really wanted to play it like co-op, and I actually really liked the first two games. Dude, Gears of War 3 was such a letdown for me.
Really?
I really enjoyed the first two games like a lot. I think Gears of War 2 super underrated game. I think that is a
Yeah, it's great.
phenomenal game.
Wait, Gears 3 or Gears 4 you're talking about?
I'm talking about Gears 3. I did
Okay.
not enjoy Gears 3.
The glowies.
Glowies. Yeah, I was
Glowies.
not a fan, man. I just feel like the really cool hyper dark
Well, it's-
emotional like story of Gears of War 2, and then they just went like a really weird almost like high fantasy
It
direction
suffers
with
from
it.
like the Dark Knight Rises thing, where it's like Batman Begins is
Yeah,
cool
no, you're right.
because it's the first one. Then you got a killer follow-up sequel. Then you got to wrap it up somehow. And
You
I
do.
think the wrap-up is always like, and you wish it would be a great final
Yeah.
chapter.
It
but you're
wasn't
just-
a Halo 3 though. I'll say you've got Halo 1, Halo 2, awesome game. Halo 3, phenomenal. Not really climax of the story because there's still more that come after that.
Yeah.
But it was not a strong third game
Right.
for sure for me.
Well, guys, that's all the time we got. Not because we're out of time, but because our wives are probably hungry and angry and wanting us to come home. It's 10 o'clock at night, and we've been podcasting.
I was
since...
talking about the video game.
Right.
We're doing
right.
important business, man.
Remember the days when
I don't
we
want to
were...
disappoint our 8 followers.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to do that. All right, guys, that's all the time we got for the 4 Plot Podcast. I'm Will.
It's here, babe.
I'm Mike
And
and Matt.
And Matt's kind of gone. And I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in.
Matt.
All right, guys, have a great week. We'll see you next time.